starts fulfilling the need. They become more and more important in this child's life, and flattery is described as one of the very basic tactics that child groomers use. Shane Dawson has done this quite a lot, and Onision has too, in the videos where they would rate underage fans that sent them pictures in videos, often sexualizing these pictures as they were rating them. And then the next stage, isolating the child, the perpetrator may reinforce the relationship with the child by cultivating a sense that they love and understand the child in a way that others, even their parents, could not. Both Shane and Onision have done this, with an entire part of their audience talking about their own vulnerabilities when it came to weight or what they looked like and stuff like that. Oh, Onision understands me. Shane understands me. The next step is sexualizing the relationship. So once this emotional dependence and trust has been built, progressively the relationship becomes more and more sexual. This occurs through talking, pictures, and conversation topics. The adult exploits the child's natural curiosity and trust, using stimulation to advance the sexual nature of the relationship. They weren't just constantly putting out obviously horrendous stuff. Although there was a lot of awful stuff there were also a lot of times where the child would be watching their content and just be, hanging out with them parasocially and building this dynamic, which then allowed these creators to introduce more and more sexualized content into the children's lives. Because parasocial relationships are one-sided and cannot be developed mutually, very nearly the whole burden of this relationship is thrown onto the persona and on the show of which he is the pivot. The performer should be loved and admired. Every attempt possible is made to strengthen the illusion of reciprocity. There is an emphasis on the ideal performer having heart and being sincere, with a performance that's real and warm. This is a post from the Shane Dawson subreddit. When I found Shane, I was 8 or 9 years old. I grew up in a pretty stable family, with parents who made me feel safe, if not a little invalidated at times, but that's been addressed later in life. I'm now 20 years old. I remember those creepy vlogs with his cousins and his racist jokes and the Millie stuff. I remember seeing it and thinking it was funny and shocking, and that's what made people laugh. I would go to school and make Shane Dawson jokes, and my friends would be upset by it after a while because they were vile jokes. But I was a 9-year-old girl who felt special because I could watch these adult videos, and I wanted to feel shocking and edgy like Shane. That was enough to make me wish Shane hadn't come into my life, giving me tools to ostracize myself for a quick laugh, leaving me extremely isolated from my peers. I shouldn't have known what a blowjob was when I was 8. When I got to the age of 11 or 12, I wanted to find a boyfriend. My high school life became pretty lonely, and I was struggling to find common interests with people my age. So I went online and found a YouTube and Twitch streamer who I liked watching a lot. Through him, I met a man in his early 20s in California. He had about 300 subscribers, but that was enough for me. For years we would Skype, and I don't want to get into what would happen in the calls. But I remember feeling so loved and special. Looking back on it, I remember seeing myself as those girls Shane would kiss at conventions and his little cousin who got attention. All I'm trying to say is that I'm struggling to cope with the concept of parasocial grooming. I feel like if it hadn't have felt it was so funny and exciting to be sexualized by mature men, I wouldn't have ever thought of an older man that way. I feel like watching Shane made it acceptable to open myself up to men like him, and it made the red flags feel funny and exciting. In hindsight, I remember knowing it was wrong, hiding Shane's videos from my parents, making racist, nasty jokes to friends and being immediately shut down and shut out. Then reaching out online and finding men like Shane who said what I wanted and made me feel like a grown-up. I watched Shane as a kid, and I feel like if I hadn't, I wouldn't have been manipulated and abused in my teen years by older men online. This is not the only post like this. There are absolutely tons of people coming out now with similar stories to this person. The parasocial connection that they had with Shane had extremely similar effects to grooming. Think about how child grooming has evolved, and now it's not just people pretending to be 16 in chat rooms to target specific individual children. I think that what Shane Dawson has done, in my individual opinion, audience grooming, parasocial audience grooming, I think the effects that he's potentially had on thousands and thousands and thousands of children when you really think about it, when you sit and think of it, it is horrific. It is horrific. And anyone who's talking about a Shane redemption arc, consider everything I've talked about in this video. Consider D'Angelo Wallace's video. I think that Shane should retire from the internet. If he doesn't do it by himself, then we should pressure him to retire from the internet. When I say retire from the internet, I mean that Shane Dawson's channel should go. All of his videos should go. He should no longer be able to make money online as an internet personality. It's over. Take your fucking money and leave. You've done so much damage, that any comeback, no matter how sincere it sounds, is not going to be enough. I would encourage anyone who watched Shane's content as a kid, talk about your stories. I am absolutely persuaded that there are thousands of people with extremely similar stories to this person on Reddit who've watched Shane's content. Through watching his content and through being parasocially groomed by Shane Dawson, had to go through life with the effects of grooming, and potentially it normalised this idea of, you know, huge age gaps and paedophilia. Shane Dawson normalised paedophilia to kids for years. That's all I have to say, to be honest. That's all I have to say.
I'm a YouTube celebrity. I live through your smartphone screen. Buy all my stuff and please love me. Remember, I love you. About the blackface and the N-word, it wasn't about race. I know that sounds absurd. Yeah. I know I've spent years sexualizing children. That sounds bad. And making money using racist jokes. I was in such a dark place. I didn't know better back then. I promise I've changed. I was in my 20s. It was a different time. I had a lot of anxiety. I was bullied as a child. So please, get about, please. Tell me I'll say I don't know who that person was. I'm rebranding to sell you more stuff. Sell you more stuff. Just to sell you. Reinvent myself constantly, so you can buy more stuff from me. Reinvent myself constantly. Invent myself constantly. Buy more stuff from me. Buy more stuff from me. Come buy more stuff from me. You can buy more stuff from me. Reinvent myself constantly, so you can buy more stuff from me. Reinvent myself constantly, myself constantly. Buy more stuff from me. Buy more stuff constantly, constantly. Buy more stuff from me.
Also thank you to Mountain Snow, Reasonably Agitated Honeybee, Erica Abenti, Lunos Nocturne, Moira,
I've been blocked by over 5,000 people on Twitter. Now, this doesn't totally surprise me, because if I had to see me every day and not be me, I would probably block me too. But I do have to say, I'm kind of shocked, kind of proud, that one of those 5,000 people happens to be none other than Jeffree Star.
Jeffree Star. Where do we begin with this guy, man?
We have a lot of emotional tea to dive into.
My fans are totally hating on someone like Jeffree Star.
Jeffree Star autobiography, it needs to come soon.
Oh, and if my body's found dead in a ditch somewhere, it's Jeffree Star.
Hi, and welcome back.